be a good idea to start the conversation for those of us who might be thinking, about the shift. Those are thinking about the climate, thinking about listening to all these stats and statistics about what the predictions are for the real estate market. We decided to just own it and begin having conversations. So today, basically, this is our format. If you want to be upgraded to a panelist so you can talk, just drop a note in the chat that says, hey, I have something to say. Because I know that Doug and Cindy and Marissa and Kim do, and maybe Joe does too. I can't wait. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about ruts. And we all kind of probably have used this word at one point in our life or another. And, many of us have used it when we're kind of stuck somewhere, right? When maybe it's your car stuck in a rut. But, I like... when we talk about a rut, I looked up the definition of it. It says a habit or a pattern that has become dull or unproductive, a long, deep track made by a repeated passage. And so today, that's what we were thinking about. Pep Talk Tuesday. Let's talk about ruts. This place that we might be stuck in. What do you guys think?
Well, I can go just because for me, it'll be 7 years in the business in July, and I've gone through cycles of ruts, and I've found that the longer that you're in the business, the more that occurs, and you have to really work hard against getting stuck there. So one of the things that I've learned is that it's normal. Once you've hit mastery on something, then you move on to something else to improve. And so continuing to push yourself is really important. But it's fresh on my mind this week because how I've been getting through my ruts is doing ninja installations and conversing with like-minded people and having accountability partners. And then it turned into a coach. So my encouragement is just, know that ruts are going to happen, but you have to have a plan in place to make sure that you don't stay there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. Plus, you want to be careful. If I feel like I'm getting in a rut, then I try to reevaluate what I'm doing, but also try not to compare myself to somebody else or another agent because everybody has a story and it's different. And I don't like to get in conversations that are real negative about the business or anything like that, because I want to control my mindset and I want to be positive. I want to wake up every day and be excited about what I do. And I really do think it comes down to a positive mindset. And you may have to be your own self-promoter for a while, but get positive books, you can make a difference, and really how you control your mind.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. And again, I like what Cindy just said. A rut looks different for everybody, but a rut just becomes a place that you just get stuck. So how do you get out of a rut? Is a rut sometimes of a comfortable place, or is it a place of discomfort?
And I wrote down comfortable because it's interesting to me that we all sometimes don't even know that we're in a rut, right? Because we all go through the same routine day in, day out. And I get to a point sometimes that I'm looking in the mirror going, you're in a rut, Doug. You're doing the same thing over and over again. And subconsciously, I don't even realize that I'm doing that.
Right.
Now, it could be a good place, or it could be a place that I'm saying, man, somebody's got to help me get out of this. And back to what you just said, Marissa, with accountability. Really important to have that accountability, that circle of people that care about you, love you, and maybe they call you out at times and say, hey, you're in a rut, Doug. You got to think differently. Right, Cindy? That positive mindset.
Absolutely.
So, for me, so I find it really hard to get out of a rut. So for me, my habits are to stay continuous with what I do every day to stay out of that rut, which means I start my morning every day with my coffee, some positive reading, because for me, getting out of a rut is much more harder than just staying out of it. Yeah. So I think, what I've heard Marissa say and Cindy say and Doug say is couple things really matter, and that is mindset. How do we start your day? And for those that were in Ninja, we know very strong about, gratitudes and being grateful.
Right.
But also, what are we listening to when things are good? And who are we surrounded with? I think that's really important. Just to be around people that understand you, people that uplift you. I have different types of people in my life. And some I pull up, some they pull me up, right? So I think those are a couple really good things. But I'm not a fire insurance person at all. I don't like it. I don't like it. But if I just do what I do every day consistently, I can stay out of that, right?
Yeah. So in order to avoid fire insurance, what can we do? I mean, what are the things that we need to be doing to get out of the rut, to avoid the fire insurance? I think when we kind of talked about planning this day, I think I used the word force yourself to do this. And when I said that, Kim went like this. Force. What did that do to you when I was saying, force yourself to do this or force yourself to do that? And then I rephrased it and used the word redirect.
Yeah.
And tell me what that did for you when I just changed the word force to redirect, because maybe that's what some of us are feeling right now.
Right. And when we had this conversation, I thought, do I tell Tracy I don't like that word? But it felt exactly that. It felt hard. It felt forced. But then as we talked it through, she said, redirect. And then we said, yeah, redirect your focus. And then what you focus on expands. And then it felt more palatable. It was easier because we have to remember every day agents get up, we sell, and the market feels hard. And we're working really hard and we're really laboring. And so to change our focus on the positive, to redirect it to the good happening. I'll be honest, I had a few days, I've been sick for a while, I'm tired, and I just have to get up and I sit and I go, okay, what do I have to be grateful for today? To refocus how I feel, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thought on that.
Also, it spreads to your clients too. You bring negative energy in, it's not good. So you got to stay positive for more than just yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that. So Joe, if you're feeling down, who do you go to, right? If I'm having a bad day and I'm feeling really negative about the market, and then I pick up the phone and call my client, it's exactly that. My negative energy, I've just now cast that on other people who are trying to be hopeful. So who do you have in your life who are the ones that are lifting you up out of the hole and
my cheerleaders?
Your cheerleaders.
Yeah, my cheerleaders, my mom, my wife, my team leader, Blaine Allen, and all of you.
I like that.
We can class every Tuesday, to learn more, learn something new every day.
And actually, I like my Tuesday trainings because, of course, that's my passion. But we just have conversations in there. And we just talk, just to have somebody in your quiver, right? Somebody there with you, and we just chat and you feel supported. I think that's really important. Doug does the coffee hours, same concept, is to be around other people that sharpen you, that you work together with. And this is a very lonely occupation, right? I mean, Tracy and I talk about it. She sits on the east side all by herself and she loves all of us now because we get to talk every day, right?
Right.
But it's lonely. And so just being around others and talking, I think is really, really important. Just being in the office if you're not feeling good.
Right.
Well, it's nice to be around other positive people. The other thing I try to keep in mind too is it's a fascinating business. I think real estate is fascinating because we get the opportunity to go out and sell inventory that we don't have to carry. This is inventory available to us that we can help assist, make new friends, and help them find homes. I mean, I don't know any other business where you're able to do that and we can still have our own business. So to me, it's fascinating. So I try to remember what really got me excited when I got into real estate and what that passion was. And, again, like Kim said, and be around people that are positive and share that same passion.
Yep. Yeah. My coffee hour this morning, you guys, and I just wanted to share that with you too. I had about 20 people in Muskegon, and it was exactly what you just said, Cindy. A couple of them came into the door like, man, this has been tough. And, you know, some of the conversations that kind of broke out that this morning was kind of interesting because none of it was planned. It was just like, hey, I really need to be challenged. I need to feel uncomfortable. Help me get out of my, here we go, the word rut again.
Mm-hmm.
They identified that they were in a place that they don't want to be. And so they came to a setting like this to talk to some people that were on fire, that were doing some deals, that were working through some different things. And again, the spirit kind of changes all of that for you. And I don't know, I love being around positive people because it just gives me even more energy. And so that's kind of a, we all talk about that, but that's kind of a place where I go that it's comfortable for me because I can be around people that do the same thing each day that I do and bring different stories of successes. And gosh, what would you do in a situation like this? And all of a sudden it just perpetuates. It just goes, it makes me happy at the end of all that. And I'm so glad I took the time to do that. So it's important.
Yeah. But, you know, in a market where maybe the phone isn't ringing like it did, you could have had this business where, you know, you didn't have to think about when the phone was going to ring. It just rang. But maybe things are a little radio silent right now. I was talking with one of our agents last Monday, and I won't say her name, but she's been a very successful realtor. And then one day she just realized, like, wow, there's like things have changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. And instead of getting stuck in a rut, she was really proactive. Like you know, we normally have a call at 11. She was in the car, headed to do something completely different, to connect with a group of people that she had gotten out of the habit of doing. Mm. And so when we're busy doing our business like this, having systems is really important. And when we get stuck in a rut, in order to get out of it, we have to change our behavior. So she immediately knows, hey, she's a connector naturally. So where did she go? Back to connecting with people. Mm-hmm. We started this call with Marissa saying, show everyone your shirt you're wearing and what that shirt represents. What's it say?
So that's a beer mug.
Tell us what you do. What is that?
Our team, we host a meetup once a month at a local brewery. And thank you, Tracy, for lifting that up, because I was going to add that to the conversation, that when I don't know what to do, I connect with people. I can have no business, no pendings, no anything, and make a phone call like Doug. Doug is our phone call master, and I hear Doug's voice in my head, pick up the phone and call people and get in front of them and like connect and make those continue to cultivate those relationships. So we do this once a month, and we don't talk about real estate. We just get together and love on people and have fun and play games and eat nachos and pizza. And that's it. And then we all go home. So there's always something that you can do to be working on your business, even if you feel like, you know, I don't have anything going on. There are things that you can do for sure. Connecting with people is like number one.
Yeah, I remember Greg Carlson recommending the book, The 7 Levels of Marketing. I think that's the one. But in that book, he talks about going somewhere on a regular basis, because I can tell you this about Marissa. She goes to this place once a month. And all those people that work at that place know that Marissa's going to be there, and they are connected to lots of people. So whether it's, you know, Kim, what's our guy on the river? What was his name?
Oh, DeMarcus
on the river. Everyone knew that was DeMarcus. That was his thing. They knew when they saw him, hey, that's the realtor, right? So these are natural places for you to, maybe you're not naturally a connector. I mean, Cindy, where do you do these kinds of things? Dancing?
Ballroom dancing. I don't know. I don't think they're going to allow me back at ballroom dancing. But yeah, I like being out and about, and I do feel better. I feel like if you're inside and you're by yourself, and you know, just get out there. And I'm with Doug. Pick up the phone. I really do. I'll call. I'll say, hey, how are you doing? It doesn't have to be about real estate. But I like to organize things. I'll have get-togethers at my house, you know,
awesome.
and all that. And sometimes people want to come back, sometimes people don't. But you do, you know, that's the other thing about real estate. You can be yourself, but just be the best you can be. You know, I've taken, you know, taking a little bit from each one of you. And I know I'm not a Kim or a Tracy or Marissa or a Doug, but I can take what I'm learning and turn it into the best me I can be. So so it's great.
Yeah. Hey, Kim, what says you? I see your hand up.
Is my hand up?
Yeah, it is.
Your hands up in the screen. There she is.
I can still say something. I didn't mean to raise my hand. I think I was trying to close the chat button and I ended up on the raise your hand. But
we have Blair on here. I don't know if Blair wants to speak.
He liked your idea. I saw his note that that another reason to go to the brewery. I saw that.
Yes, always.
So what brewery are we talking about?
I always share with agents that this is a very emotional business.
Yeah.
And emotional IQ is really, really important in this business because when you're hitting, you're winning, you're selling, it's an amazing, amazing career.
Yeah.
And when you are writing offers that aren't getting accepted and you have a hard buyer or a hard seller or things are falling apart or they're terminating, that's when we really need to be on guard because it's a high and it can be a low. So we always want to stay in the middle. And it's better to win. But just remember this, as Marissa said earlier, in her 7 years, there are ups and downs. We've had some really good years. Some agents will have their best year and the next year they might not have their best year.
Right.
And so we won't get into money, but that's why we budget. But it's a very emotional career and we need to find our equilibrium and try to stay the same. So the way that I do that is what I mentioned. I'm intentional every day. And there was a day this weekend that I was just exhausted. And I was like, what am I going to do? Nothing was sticking. Yeah. And so I had to go run some errands. I was too tired to even go through the grocery store. And I put on my podcast and just let it play, hoping something will click in there, right? So whatever that is, sometimes you just have to do it anyway, even when you're not feeling it, because you need to get a positive influence or find a podcast. I like to have my own self-talk like, hey, somebody's going to sell 5,000 units in Kalamazoo. It might as well be us, right? I go through the stats and you have to have that self-talk to keep yourself out of that rut. And it's really important not to wait until you're in the rut, but get that game plan ahead of time. How do you talk to yourself and what are you saying?
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes,
go ahead, Cindy.
I was just say, sometimes you want to evaluate yourself. Sometimes it's just better just go and get your hair cut or, you know, get false eyelashes or whatever, you know, just, you know, make some changes where you feel good about yourself. Cause, you know, it's just like Joe was saying, you are projecting yourself to your clients and, you know, when you're on the phone, smile. I mean, I fake smile all the time on the phone, but it makes a difference to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm getting eyelashes, number one.
Mine's falling off.
Just to be clear. Yeah, I don't know about the fingers, the earrings, things like that, but I will pick up the phone and call each one of you because I know you're going to lift me up when I'm feeling like, look, I need to be lifted up. That's an important thing for me. And I'm so fortunate to have, you know, this group to be able to, and as agents, I mean, same thing, this broker support team, if you want to be lifted up, pick up the phone and call one of us. It's an exciting time, and you might find that there's things that you already knew that you just needed somebody to kind of support you in your thinking, right?
Right.
And that's what I love about this group.
And along those lines, Doug, you know, I don't want to, because I don't have permission to share this person's name, but what you just said reminded me of a conversation that I had with a newer agent yesterday, and she had a win. She got an offer accepted, and she got another challenging contract to closing, like they're progressing there. And you want to talk about, I just got on the phone, it was just uplifting her, just, you're awesome. You're a rock star. You got this. And I did that for about 10 minutes. She was like, oh, I really needed to hear that. And that's what we're here for, right? Because sometimes, I think someone already mentioned this, sometimes you don't even know you're in a rut. Mm-hmm. Something just feels off. Mm-hmm. And you may not even be aware that that's what it is and what's happening. And so, like Kim said, to just constantly be pouring into yourself, whatever that looks like, that works for you. Right? If you begin a system, and those of you that are watching or on this call and did Ninja, you already know, right? If you have this routine every day where you're pouring into yourself and you're resetting your mindset every single day, right? It reduces the likelihood that you're going to hit a rut. And if you do hit a rut, you have tools to be able to get out of it faster. Mm-hmm. Right? As opposed to months go by, you're like, yeah, I haven't sold anything in like 3 months and I'm not feeling it. I'm going to go get a job. Yeah. Knowing that you have a strong why, like Cindy, right? But if you're not constantly reminding yourself of that and constantly pouring into yourself, it's very, very easy to forget and to stay in the rut.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. So if you get in the rut, what we would like to encourage you to do, so that if you get there, we've all been in ruts, right? That becomes kind of a safety zone that's really not that safe because you're not comfortable there. So in my estimation, the first thing that you should do is lock arms with somebody that you trust. If maybe it's one of us, maybe it's someone in our agent community, but at the end of the day, lock arms with someone that you can trust. Develop a system or a plan. Kim's probably got a spreadsheet on it, okay? I'm telling you. But develop a system. What's that?
Multiple.
Or a checklist.
I love your spreadsheet.
I got both.
But don't stay there. Find somebody that can hold you accountable. Because if they're not going to hold you accountable, find someone new. Because if you say, these are the activities that I'm going to do to get myself out of the rut, hold yourself accountable, but know that you have to be accountable to your friend so-and-so, that we're going to meet, on Mondays and Fridays or whatever day that is. And if I haven't done it, they're going to say to me, hey, you didn't get this done. Why didn't you get it done? And challenge you to hit the reset button and start again. Because we don't want ruts to be a safe place for anybody. So feel free to reach out to us, any one of us, to help you along this journey of being a real estate pro. Whether you've, kind of gone sideways a little bit, let us help you come back, because it could be one of us, next week. And we may be relying on you. So any final thoughts, gang?
I just want to say to everyone, we get in ruts too.
Yes.
So don't beat yourself up. There are days, we call each other. Doug mentioned it. So sometimes I just want to feel like I'm not the only one that goes there sometimes, because we beat ourselves up for not being, so perfect. And just know we get in it too. And we reach out to others. And so it's really important to know that we're real and we've experienced. I will be really transparent with you. I have had the roughest 5 days ever. And just in my real estate business. And I was talking to the other agent where we have this very challenging deal this weekend. And he said, Kim, well, we're going to work to save this deal. But he said, this might be one of those situations where we just hope that karma comes back and gives you something good. And those were words, music to my ears, right? Sometimes we just have to accept what's happening, do the termination, and hope that it'll come back on another way. So just know we live this too.
Yeah.
And we're here to help you, but just sharing some of our tricks to get through those rough times.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yep.
Good deal. Set an action plan, stick with it, and no excuses.
Amen.
Love it.
All right.
Sounds great. Well, that's your Pep Talk Tuesday, Volume 1, Episode 1. That's a wrap. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.